5 or 7 years ago in terms of getting video, getting the story. All of that has changed because there's a camera in each and every one of these, and I'm going to address that a little bit. In most of the mid-sized cities, news of an accident will be on Twitter and Facebook within minutes. Case in point, Ron Moore's accident with Burlington Trailways about a year and a half ago. That occurred in a rural area between Denver and Omaha in the middle of the night, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. A television station somewhere along the route in rural Nebraska knew about this about 20 minutes after the accident and had the story posted on their website 20 minutes after the accident with video that was shot by a passenger who was on the motor coach. And this is one of the things that I think is a real issue that we need to face, is that in the old days, if there was a story, the news department would hear about it on the scanner, and the reporter and the photographer would scramble out of the office or whatever the location they're at, and they would get to the scene, and by that time, the police department's done their job, and they have crime scene taped the scene, or they're in the process of doing that, and you have a bit of a quarantined area in a safe area where the emergency responders will be doing their business. Nowadays, because passengers all have cameras, you will be getting video that is much more graphic, and you will be getting video from the scene much sooner. And in the case of the Ron Moore's accident with Burlington Trailways, there was video on the station's website within a half hour. And it was tough video to watch. I mean, it was, right there for everyone to see. So that's something we have to be aware of. The other thing is, too, as with the use of helicopters and televisions, and case in point here, about 3 months ago there was an accident in Litchfield Park, Illinois, involving a megabus. A lady died on the accident, and the accident was still under investigation, but what happened was the driver, a trainee, was driving with a supervisor, and apparently there was a problem with the left front tire. He was trying to control the vehicle, and as he was trying to control the vehicle and get it off to the road onto the shoulder, as luck would have it, or bad luck would have it, the thing that was right in front of him was a bridge abutment. And he hit the bridge abutment going about 30 miles an hour, and one of the passengers in the upstairs, the upper deck, was killed. Television stations from St. Louis and Springfield, Illinois, got on the story, and using a helicopter, they were on the air for about 90 minutes with a chopper. And as someone who comes from a television background, I'll tell you that that's adrenaline in the newsroom. Breaking into soap operas or breaking into Anderson Cooper or whatever show your station's carrying at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to show an accident and do live coverage, you get an adrenaline rush as a reporter doing that. And so what happens is that much of the information, though, that you get in those stories, it's wrong because it's a fluid situation. It's a very dynamic situation. You have people calling in. You might have witnesses calling in who are describing the scene. So a lot of the information that you'll find in those first couple of minutes are wrong. I'm not a believer in using no comment. I don't believe it works anymore because I believe you have to be transparent. And Bob Crescenzo and I have had this discussion on numerous occasions, and I'll talk more about the insurance aspect shortly. I believe you can be courteous with the media and be professional with the media and work with them on your terms. But I think that if you say the word no comment, you are going to get yourself into trouble. Because no comment, as I'll say in a second, equates with lying or covering up. You can't run from the media. There's too many media outlets. There's so many of them. So to use the word no comment is not a real good use of your word. There are other ways to not explain something or to explain the question. But if you use no comment, it's likely to backfire. And I'll be honest with you, I love as a reporter nothing more, nothing less than having someone stonewall me and give me the brush off with the camera and push me away. It's great video. How many times have you seen that on your local news station, nodding your head? The guy comes up and he's got the camera going and he tries to talk to him. I got nothing to say to you, no comment. Well, that's the soundbite that makes its way into the story. That's what everybody wants to see. That's the sizzle. That's the bacon, being cooked right up there. It's perfect. We love that. No comment doesn't work anymore. The truth we have seen time and time again will always get out. Some way, the truth is going to find its way into the story. It's going to get out there. So the thing is to manage the information as best you can. And as I explained what ABA does and what we're trying to do with the insurance companies, we'll talk about that. And this is the process that we're going through. The media today faces unrelenting competitive pressures, and their pressure can be unrelenting. So a lot of times, they're going to be out there. Stonewalling doesn't work. As I tell my kids, it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. And that's the case. So you don't have to tell everybody what's going on or what's taking place with your company. We're going to discuss how that's going to be released and how it's going to be packaged. But stonewalling, not answering your phone, being rude and argumentative with someone from the media, that doesn't work. That's what I'm talking about specifically. The media's impact. No longer is it just your local television station, your radio station, your community, and the 6 and 10 p.m. news. That whole world has been expanded so many, many times because of smartphones, because of what's taking place with the internet. You can't make the story go away. It's going to be there. The media is going to be at your door. We're going to encourage you today to start to work with Bob Crescenzo at Lancer Insurance and Michelle at National Interstate and some of the other companies to work on forming a crisis communications plan. Work on building a crisis plan and have it so that, maybe if your company is small, maybe you work on it with another company that you guys work together and you collaborate on it. That's one thing to do. One of the other things you might want to consider in your local community is talking to some sort of a media relations agency, a public relations agency, so that you work with them, and at least if something happens, it's there, and at least you've got something planned. Lancer offers a fabulous program that we work with Lancer on distributing called Lancer the First 24, and it takes you through the steps one by one of what you need to do to set up a crisis management plan, a crisis communications plan. And Bob's in the back and will be happy to walk you through that and encourage you to do that. I know other insurance companies do the same thing. So it's really important for you to have a plan so everybody knows where they're going. Everybody understands what their roles are. Give you a case in point. There was an accident that I was involved with early on at ABA. And these are just little things that sometimes will reach up and can really catch you and cause you big trouble. The person who was answering the phone had no expectations or no training how to handle 200 or so phone calls in a short period of time. Because your switchboards are going to blow up. The families are going to call, the police are going to call, the NTSB is going to call, everyone's going to call, and they're all going to be wanting information. And then the media is going to start calling. And this poor young lady who was answering the phone did not really have the experience or the polish to handle this situation. She got annoyed with the reporter, told the reporter no comment. It blew up on him. It caused him problems. It was one of these things that because they didn't have someone designated to handle the phones in this situation, it blew up on him. If you're an ABA member, this is something that we do as a service to you as a member of our association. We will help you deal with the media. We will work with the insurance companies. We will work with them to make sure that your company is protected and make sure that your reputation is protected. I'll get to that in just a second. We'll act as your company spokesman if you'd like us to do that. We'll advise and consult with you and the insurance companies in preparing written statements to the media, and we will come together on a media plan. So in the early hours of an accident, we're going to talk together a lot on the phone. If you need us, if it's serious enough where it really looks as though it's going to be bad, I'm going to hop on a plane, I'll get to your location, and we'll make things as best we can. We'll defend your company against inaccurate claims made in the media. Sometimes it happens. I'm the first to admit that I've made my share of mistakes while covering stories. Case involving the Burlington Trailways, and I'm glad that it was discussed the issue of service dogs earlier in the ADA presentation. One of the people who was on the motor coach that crashed between the two cities said he had a service dog. And the poor dog got rattled during the accident and escaped from the owner and fled and ran out of the highway and subsequently got hit by another car and got killed. Terrible story. That person, Mr. Lombardi, was not a real happy guy. So he had a smartphone, and he's out there taping everything he can. I've tried to figure out exactly what he's doing because his dog is out there on the road too, and he's in an accident, of course, is very confusing. But he's out there videotaping it, and then he told a reporter that the driver in this case was using their phone to text while she was driving. Well, everyone knows what the rules are regarding his phone. He can't use the phone. In this case, the driver, we found out, had never activated this texting function on her phone. She'd owned the phone for a year and a half. She'd never sent a text. She made 2 calls during the course of her trip on a Bluetooth. She called the office to get a weather condition, and she called the driver coming in the opposite direction, going from west to east, to get a road condition because there was road work that was going on ahead on the interstate. 2 phone calls lasted about 45 seconds, right then on her phone. So Mr. Lombardi tells the Associated Press that this is the case, she's using the phone, and this becomes the story that the Associated Press runs. Driver using cell phone while driving caused accident, passenger says. Well, we found the state patrol officer, we got the driver's phone impounded, we were able to work with the authorities on this, and within about 30 minutes, just not by any great work, but a lot of this was just pure luck, we were able to find out that the driver in this case didn't have a problem with the phone. The driver had an exemplary record of close to 1 million miles of driving without even so much as scratching the vehicle. The bus involved was a brand new motor coach that had only 3,000 miles on it, fully equipped with seatbelt, anti-stability control, everything you would possibly want on a bus, that thing had on the motor coach. So we were able to help protect the company's reputation, and I think Ron Moore will tell you that we did a good job and I'm real proud of it. So that's one of the things, is that false stories will get out there, false narratives will get out there, and they will bubble to the top of the story because in the short attention span that the media works in, you always want to find the quickest and most obvious answer. Well, what caused the accident? The driver was on her cell phone. What was she doing? She was texting, she was on the telephone. If she'd not been doing that, we'd have been fine. So they're always looking for, in many cases, the quickest and the easiest answer. As I experienced as an airline investigator, and as I'm finding out in the motor coach industry, there are no easy answers to find out why there was an accident. There's a whole series of things that take place, one step after another, after another, after another, after another, and it's a chain of events from one end to the other. These are the things we'll do for you at ABA. 6 steps. We'll protect your reputation. We'll be assertive, we'll react quickly, and we'll try to get the facts straight. We're going to be honest and concise. We believe in full transparency, but we're not going to tell them everything that they, the reporters need to find some of the stuff out themselves, and I'm not going to do their homework for them. If they want to go out and find information about a company, that's fine. But I'm not going to do their work for them. I did that for a long time, and they should be good at it. Reporters will have to do their homework. We don't want to be blindsided, though, by some troubling fact that they may uncover. So if there is something, as a company owner, as an operator, you owe it to your insurance company and you owe it to us if we're going to help you in this, to be forward with it. Because it's, as I said before, it's never the crime, it's the cover-up. It's always better to know about something on the front end. We may ask for time, and I know the insurance companies are going to ask for your employee's jacket. The nice thing was about the accident with Burlington Trailways, we found that the driver had a spectacular record. It was just good to know. It was good to know that this lady who was driving the motor coach that night was one of the best drivers that company had. Help us help you. Reporters are likely to find troubling information that they can harm your company. So if you tell everybody up front, we can all be prepared. Show empathy. Acknowledge the tragedy. Stonewalling it doesn't work. The attorneys and others will always look for a statement that looks like an admission of guilt. Bob and I talk about this all the time. You have to show empathy, but you've got to be real careful about what goes out there because the plaintiff's attorneys are going to be out there looking for every soft spot to make their claim larger. And I'm not going to help them do that. I know that the insurance companies certainly aren't going to help them do this. Express your sorrow and compassion in a proactive way. We are trying to help the families. We are providing hotels. We are doing this. We are trying to be as proactive as we can to show that we're doing stuff. Have a plan. Develop a crisis plan, a business continuity plan, so that even though you've got one motor coach that's damaged that day, you've still got other coaches that are out there. You've still got other routes that are being run. You've got other companies on that day that you've had an accident. You've still got to have your business going. You've still got to have continuity going. Spend time as a management team beginning now to develop that crisis plan. Again, Lancer's plan is excellent, a business continuity plan. The NTSB has a fine family assistance program that they can help you with in terms of helping the families. This is a key point. Under no circumstances, never let the driver speak to the media. The driver is a principal figure in the crash and the investigation. Keep him away from the reporters. I don't care how you have to do it. Don't let them anywhere near a camera or a microphone or a quote. Anything they say can and will be used against you. And more often than not, they're not trained to handle this. They are professional drivers. We respect the talents they bring as professional drivers. But don't let the drivers go off there talking, and tell your drivers up front, if anything ever happens, fellas, ladies, I don't want you talking to the media. Don't feel the need to be my spokesman at the scene. Don't feel the need to do that, because it's a big, big red flag. If the driver's uninjured, the driver's role is to help the passengers. Be your eyes and ears at the scene until the company representative arrives and then cooperates with the authorities. Don't let them talk, please. It's an awful thing, and I have seen situations where the driver thinks that they can go out there and they can do it, and it ends up being a real mess. Rely on us. That's what we're here for. Day end of Marketplace, January the 10th, 2013. The ABA, and this is the first time that the NTSB has ever done this with a motor coach association. They're going to be putting out a one-day Managing Crisis Communications program. It's a hands-on workshop that will prepare you for a crisis management and communications plan. Our good friends at National Interstate are the sponsors on this, the presenting sponsors. It will look inside the NTSB's investigative process, and we are encouraging company presidents, safety directors, communications directors, and others to attend. The fee on this is $199. We're not making any money on this. It's a break even for us in terms of the cost. It's an all-day thing, and like I said, it'll follow the day after everybody dismisses from Charlotte. So there are still spots. It's limited to 50 people. We've still got room, so if you'd like to come and you're going to be at Marketplace, spend an extra day with us. I think this will be a very worthwhile program and one that we're really excited about putting on and making available and making this presentation. I carry on my phone, I've got a program on my phone that's hooked in with Bloomberg News, the big news organization. And I have a specific email that I have. It's bloomberg@buses.org. And during the course of the day, I will get on a low day about 250 stories relating to the motor coach industry. On a busy day, if there's an accident, I will get maybe 600 or 700 specific stories about motor coach stories. I've keyed in words, safety, accidents, FMCSA, Department of Transportation, all these words. So it's probably averaging about 450 stories a day. And that's just on a plain old flat day. This is also a great tripwire for me, because on the morning that accident happened in Nebraska with Ron Moore's company, I knew about the accident because Bloomberg caught it off the website of the TV station in Nebraska. It got forwarded to me, and within about 20 minutes after the accident, I was on the phone with Ron Moore, and we were able to start working on the strategy of what was going to take place and how we were going to help that. So let ABA work with the media. Here's what we bring to the table. These are some of the places I've worked during the course of my 30 years. CNN spent about half my career there, Fox 5 in Atlanta, WFAA in Dallas, one of the greatest stations in the country, CBS News for a short period of time, and then radio before that. This is pointed out some of the things I've done. I've got a lot of education and experience with regards to specifically transportation. I'm trained as an accident investigator from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. I fly, and I've got lots of hours covering stories as a reporter. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes for your company to have it ruined. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. This is a quote from Reverend Joseph Paul from many years ago, long before we were around. A reputation once broken may possibly be repaired, but the world will also keep their eyes on the spot where the crack was. And in this day and age with the media, and if there's an accident that happens to your company today, that becomes part of your company's record. That becomes something that people know about. It will find its way into the story